Hi, this is Harry, and in these tutorials I'm going to show you how can you run the Porta SFTP server on your machine. So first thing first that you have to do is to download the JRE or the Java Runtime Environment, which is basically requirements for any Java application in order to run. So you can find the link on my website under the free edition, and you can click this button here. And once you get to this page, just simply select the architecture of your operating system. So by default, the 64-bit architecture will be selected, and just simply click this Microsoft installer here. Okay, so once you install that, make sure that you will click this button here to request the link in order to download the Porta SFTP server. And once you do that, just extract that zip file and put in a safe location. So in this demo, I just put that location here on my desktop, and I already extracted it. So I'm going to open this folder. So again, in order for this to run, which is the executable file or the jar file, you have to install that JRE first. So once you installed it, just double click this one, and it will ask you to provide some credentials, which is basically the encryption settings. Okay, so I'm going to just put a random password here. It's up to you to choose your password, and this is required, okay, because we want to encrypt any data flow or credentials flow within our application, and that's encrypted by our public key, and we need to protect our private key, and this is the password for. Okay, so in a private key protection settings, we can see that we have the vault or the HashiCorp vault. We have the system variable and enter at startup and config file option. So this is basically an option to where you want to store your private key password. Okay, so for me right now, I will just select this config file. So it's gonna be in a plain text from the config file. So that's fine as for demo purposes. And if you're the only one who's accessing the SFTP server, given that you put that on your server to where you can be the only one who access it, then that's fine. So I'm going to hit save. Okay, and after that, I'm going to close this window. So if you open the config.properties, you will see it here that we have some configuration here. By default, we have the port 22, the RSA key password that you just tap in, the test1234, the directory of the authorized host key, the key size, and authorized keys. So this is the folder for the host keys that will be created later on, and this is the authorized keys to where all of the user's public key will be reside. Okay, so this is the RSA key storage that we just selected earlier, which is the config file, and this is the key provider, which is the RSA. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Let's go to that form. So one thing that we have to do it here is to add some user. So I'm going to add only one user this time. Okay, I'm going to put test. I will just copy this. So I'm going to click save, but before I do that, I want to click this read and write, because I want to give the user who's going to access my SFTP server a read and write permission. Okay, and it's up to you if you don't want to give them that, and it's okay, because you may want a user to access that SFTP server to only have a read-only access to where they can only download files. Okay, so click save. So as you can see, it's already added here. Okay, so I'm going to close this and I'm going to start the SFTP server. As you can see it here, we have the port 22 and I'm going to open the WinSCP. So I'm going to, okay, I already have the test localhost credential set up here. So I'm going to just hit the login and I'm going to, this is basically means that I already have set up this before, so I will just update the RSA key details here, and I'm going to put the password that I just created for the user, which is test password 1, and click OK. And as you can see, I'm already logged in and I can create file, for example test.txt, and then I'm going to, this is a test file, save, close it, and we already save it. Okay, and if you can see it here on the logs within our SFTP server, let me minimize that. It's basically saying that okay, a user requested to create a file, which is this test.txt, and it's successfully created. And then it's obviously we did some modification on the file and then updated that file basically.